All right, we're going to do a pretty short book review today. This is for a fiction book called The Power and the Glory. And if you want to see like the real jacket, it looks like this. And it's by Graham Greene, who is well known. I'm probably going to be reading a couple other books that I have of his. And this one is more connected, rather than politics, to the role of the church in society and whether people are more able to, I guess, atone for their sins or not. It's a novel that really has very, very strong Catholic memes. So if you are a Catholic, it will probably mean a little bit more to you. I obviously am not a Catholic, so it isn't really something that I would, be able to relate to very strongly. But the whole issue here is that there is a priest in a southern Mexican state, and this was during the Cristero War of the 1930s between the Mexican government, which at the time was leaning towards a more secularist, anti-clerical government, against these Christian rebels who were trying to prevent them from removing the Catholic Church from its traditional place as one of the, I guess, pillars of Mexican society. And the priest is this nameless guy. He has been, his name is never mentioned in the novel, and he is fleeing from this antagonist who's a lieutenant in the Red Shirt group. These people were these fanatical anti-church activists who were rounding up priests and shooting them. And they left one priest in the capital city of the province or of the state, which is not named. And he basically acts as this puppet who is ridiculed by the secularists. And you can actually see a lot of the attitude from these two passages I'll read here. And I'm going to try to not to spoil the novel. I will give a little bit of the context so that you're saying, well, what the hell is he talking about? What's so important about the novel? It says, so this is a priest talking about the afterlife in heaven. He says, heaven is where there is no jefe, no unjust laws, no taxes, no soldiers, and no hunger. Your children do not die in heaven. The door of the hut opened, and a man slipped in. There was whispering out of the range of the candlelight. You will never be afraid there or unsafe. There are no red shirts. Nobody grows old. The crops never failed. Oh, it is easy to say all the things that there will not be in heaven. What is there is God. What is there is God. That is more difficult. Our words are made to describe what we know with our senses. We say light, but we are thinking only of the sun. Love, it was not easy to concentrate. The police were not far away. The man had probably brought news. That means perhaps a child. And that's really the expression of what he's talking about. This is a priest who had an affair with a woman, and he'd had a child. So he'd already violated his vows of chastity. And he was basically trying to keep together his own faith, even though he was on the run, basically a fugitive, having to live often in the huts of Indians. So that, by the way, this is still a fiction novel. This is based on some of the experiences that Greene had when he was traveling in Mexico in the 30s. Now, the counter belief is the one with the lieutenant, the antagonist, the person who's pursuing him, and he says, you know what that means, a traitor to the Republic. Anyone who shelters him is a traitor too. You're fools if you still believe what the priests tell you. All they want is your money. What has God ever done for you? Have you got enough to eat? Have your children got enough to eat? Instead of food, they talk to you about heaven. Oh, everything will be fine after you are dead, they say. I tell you, everything will be fine when they are dead, and you must help. This child is worth more than the Pope in Rome. So he's taking a child and basically taking her hostage. And he says, the police leant on their guns. None of them yawned. One of them yawned. The turkey cock went hissing back towards the hut. The lieutenant said, if you've seen this priest speak up, there's a reward of 700 pesos. So what follows is this long sequence of near scrapes and imprisonments and confrontations between the priest and the police lieutenant, where he doesn't know that this is the priest that he's speaking to. And it is in some cases, I would say it gets into thriller mode, but it's not really an edge of your seat book. It's kind of gets a while to really get into the rhythm of the book, and it took me a while for that to happen. But other than that, I think if you read it, it's generally considered one of the better Graham Greene novels, and he himself is thought of as one of the best novelists of the 20th century. He was a British Catholic socialist writer, and the themes of the novel are not really about the other political aspects of Mexico in the 30s. They really are more about the mortality of man, the reality of whether sin can be expiated or not, whether the confession actually does absolve the sinner of what they've been confessing what they had done. So I thought it was interesting. I don't have a real ranking system for fiction novels, but yeah, definitely pick it up. It's probably available anywhere. And other than that, please like, share, and subscribe. Also subscribe to me on BitChute and Minds, as well as Subscribestar. All of those are at Chef Leopard. I am banned from Twitter, so you can find me on Gab at Starscream85.